Salut à toi, je m'appelle Enzo Defer et il y a environ 7 mois, je suis parti à la rencontre de l'un des plus gros collectionneurs de plantes carnivores d'Europe, Mathias de l'entreprise Green Chance qui est lui aussi producteur et commerçant de plantes carnivores. D'ailleurs, suite à cette expérience, j'ai décidé d'en faire une vidéo pour pouvoir la publier sur ma chaîne YouTube. Dans celle-ci, tu as donc l'opportunité dans un premier temps de découvrir la quasi-totalité de sa collection et de sa production avec en arrière-plan quelques conseils et quelques informations que je te donne à propos des plantes carnivores. Et enfin, en seconde partie, j'ai décidé de faire une petite interview avec Mathias, histoire d'en apprendre davantage sur lui, sur sa passion et également son entreprise Green Chance. Mathias étant allemand, l'interview a été faite en anglais. Je lui ai donc posé les questions en anglais et il m'a alors répondu en anglais. À la suite de la publication de cette vidéo, j'ai eu énormément d'interactions et de questionnements suite au fait qu'elle n'était pas en anglais et que certains ne comprenaient pas malheureusement l'anglais et seraient intéressés pour pouvoir la voir en français et donc comprendre de A à Z tout ce que Mathias dit, puisque c'est une interview exclusive et qui est truffée d'informations et d'anecdotes assez sympas au sujet des plantes carnivores. Du coup, pour aujourd'hui, j'ai l'immense plaisir de t'annoncer que cette interview a été traduite en français. J'ai été très heureux de partir à la rencontre de Mathias, de l'aider et d'en apprendre davantage à ses côtés pendant environ 10 jours. Reste bien connecté puisque la semaine prochaine, je vais publier du contenu vidéo à propos de l'ouverture de mon site e-commerce. Dans ces vidéos qui font partie d'une nouvelle série de vidéos que j'ai créée, tu en apprendras un peu plus sur Mathias puisque cet échange a été riche d'apprentissage pour moi et j'en ai appris beaucoup, comme notamment le conditionnement et la préparation des plantes carnivores pour être envoyées. Car Mathias a lui également son propre site e-commerce en allemand. Tu l'auras compris, cet échange avec Mathias a été pour moi une expérience folle. C'est un moment très certainement que je n'oublierai jamais, au-delà du fait d'en avoir pris plein les yeux, au beau milieu de milliers de plantes carnivores et entouré d'un mec bourré de connaissances. Je te souhaite une excellente vidéo, profite bien de cette interview exclusive.
Hi Leute, here's the Matze. No, in English please, I know. Just my introduction from my videos on YouTube, maybe you know them. So, bonjour tout le monde, je m'appelle Matthias, but my friends call me Matze, and you too. Yeah. So all the people call me Matze, it's just easy, it's my nickname. I'm 32 years old, I live here in Ludwigsburg for all my life now, and I started my nursery in 2012, so it's about 9 years ago that I do it a full-time job, and before it was just a hobby, but for more than 25 years already, so it's a long time that I grow carnivorous plants now.
So now for the second question, where did your passion come from?
Good question. So as I told you, I grow carnivorous plants for more than 25 years now, and it started all when I was 8 years old and I bought a fly trap in the garden center, but it was not so successful, so this plant, it died after a few weeks. You can imagine it happens to everyone. Then I bought a second one, a third one, and they always die, and I don't know why. And a few years later, I remember, there was this interesting plant. I bought it again, and then I went to the library to get a book and I read how it works and how you can grow them, and then you see, full sun, a lot of water, rainwater, these three things are so important, and then it works well, and then I was so fascinated that it works and I want more of it and more, and then it all started on my balcony at home and then in the garden, and in the garden of my grandma I can build up a greenhouse, a small greenhouse, and so it grows up, and I'm still fascinated by these plants.
I have the same story. For the third question, it's your principal activity or you have another job?
The plants is my main business, so Green Chance is my main company, but it's a seasonal work. So it starts in March, April with selling plants, and then it goes to the end of October, and this is the period you can sell the plants, because in winter no one wants to buy plants. But I have some costs in winter also, I need money also in winter, so I have a second business just for winter when I work on the Christmas market here in Ludwigsburg, and I have a food stand with churros, maybe you know churros, and Glühbier, so it's a hot beer, and it's very delicious, and this is my winter business then, but just 4 weeks for winter time.
Did you work alone or did you have employees?
So, well, I don't have employees, so I work alone. But now for a few months I have a friend, and he helped me with the administration in the web shop, in the website. But here in the greenhouse I do everything alone. Okay. Quite a lot of work.
What's your favorite plant and why?
So my favorite plant is Nepenthes villosa. So actually it's very hard to have a favorite plant because I like so many plants. Also Leucophylla is one of my favorite plants, but if I have to pick just one plant, I would say it's Nepenthes villosa. And this is a story. So when I was a kid, I always wanted to go to Borneo. It was my dream to see Nepenthes in the wild, and the most spectacular Nepenthes are grown in Borneo. So it was in 2010 when I was the first time in Borneo, and I climbed up on Mount Kinabalu, so the special mountain, 4,095 meters high. And Nepenthes tentaculata was the first Nepenthes I ever see in the wild, and Nepenthes villosa was the second one. And I was so fascinated by this plant. It looks so nice, and with the peristome and the teeth and everything, it looks so nice. It's so beautiful. And since that, Nepenthes villosa became my favorite plant.
Okay. If you had a plant to present to the world, which one would it be?
It's a good question and hard to find an answer for me, because there are so many nice plants you can present to the world. And so I think the Venus flytrap is well known, and everyone knows Venus flytrap. So I think it's no need to present this plant to the world. But maybe I would present more. I will go for Sarracenia leucophylla, because this is one of my favorite plants, and people really love this plant because of the white color, white shape, and very tall pictures. So I think I would present Sarracenia leucophylla.
Now that you live one your patient, do you have one or more other goals?
Yeah, of course. So I just moved into this greenhouse last year. So I'm in this greenhouse here for 1 year now, but it's not my own. I just rent this greenhouse here. So, but for the future, I want to buy a own house, like a farm, an old farm with a big land around, and I can build up a big nursery there. I want to make like a park full with carnivorous plants, so like a carnivorous park. And yeah, that's my dream for the future, and I work on it, and let's see how long it will take.
Do you know how much you produce and sell in 1 year?
Hard question. So let me calculate a little bit. So, but I think I produce about 5,000 plants a year. It's difficult to guess the exact number, but I think if you saw some Drosera seeds, you know you get hundreds of it. Sarracenia. So, well, I know about the Sarracenia flava I produce in spring. This year it was just with the flava, was about more than 1,000 plants, just only flava. So in total I think it's 5,000-6,000 plants I produce in 1 year. I don't sell them all, but yeah, I think 2/3 of it I will sell a year. So yeah, it's hard work.
Can we buy carnivorous plants? If yes, where?
So, well, the main thing is you can buy carnivorous plants on my website. greenjaws.com is my website. There I have a big web shop, and all the plants I can sell are in the web shop, so you can make your order through the web shop. And I also go on garden markets. The full list is also on my website, so just check it out on my website. There's always the full list on the flower shows and garden markets where I am, but I'm also on the carnivorous plants shows like EEE. For example, next year is in Belgium. I will be there, or for the German meetings, also a general meeting. And I also go to Italy. Also every year I'm in Italy on the general meeting in Italy. So I travel a lot also to the plant shows and special shows for carnivorous plant, and there you can buy, and on my website. And
how many invested in your business?
Wow. So as I start early to buy plants, and I really started to collect plants in 2013 when I was the first time in England at Mike King, and I saw his collection, and it was so awesome, and I can't believe it. It's like heaven there at Mike's. And that was the time when I say, okay, I want also a big collection like this, and I started to buy the plants, and I focus mainly on Sarracenia and flytraps, and then I start my own breeding program for flytraps also because I was so fascinated by it. But yeah, so this was the time when I really started to buy a lot of plants and my collection grows up, and I think I invest more than 100,000 euro in total for plants, but also for tables here in the greenhouse, for the equipment around and everything around. Also when I go to the markets, I need a lot of equipment, which is very expensive. So I think in total it's maybe around 100,000 euro, so quite a lot.
Okay.
But you know, other people, they buy cars like Porsche, but I prefer to buy plants.
Yeah, me too. As good German, beer or plants?
Well, plants.
Plants.
Yeah, so I'm German, yes, but I don't drink so much beer. So I prefer, I prefer wine. So it's easy for me to decide between beer and plants, and I would take the plants for sure.
And to finish, a funny anecdote about the plants you grow.
Oh, okay. I have to think about it. So, about the plants I grow. Well, there was one funny thing. It's not about the plants I grow, but about the plants in general. So it was last year on Sumatra, and I went up a mountain to see some Nepenthes, and we walked for many hours, and it was raining a lot, and it was no fun to walk up. And then we arrived at the Nepenthes, and it was an active volcano, so it was active on the top. And we arrived at the Nepenthes, and we say, okay, 1 hour more. So we have time, 1 hour more, but it's to go up to the crater to see the volcano. I say, we don't. Yeah, we want to see, but it's not fun to go up. And we walk and walk and walk, and then when we arrive on top, there were a group of many girls, and we said, "Oh, a lot of young girls here. What happens here? Well, it's like heaven here on top." And I think this was a funny story then, because it was a very bad day, only rain, and we have no fun to walk up. And then we arrive at the top. There was a group of young girls. That was a nice pleasure then, and in total, or in the end, it was a funny story for us, and we are very happy to go to the top to meet the girls.
Tu aimerais également pouvoir me poser tes questions, en apprendre davantage sur ma passion pour les plantes carnivores, en apprendre davantage sur moi, mon parcours, et également pourquoi est-ce que j'en suis et comment est-ce que j'en suis arrivé là à créer mon entreprise Les Dents de la Terre. Peu importe les questions que tu peux te poser au sujet des plantes carnivores, de mon entreprise, etc. Je te laisse l'espace commentaire pour me poser tes questions et j'y répondrai peut-être dans une prochaine vidéo, histoire de te raconter davantage d'anecdotes et d'histoires sur mon parcours. Je sélectionnerai évidemment les questions les plus pertinentes. En attendant, je te dis à très vite pour de nouvelles aventures autour de cette nature insolite, fascinante et dévorante.